technologies you're dealing with, and the years of experience would be also good good to know.
So right now, so like I said, I wear so many hats. I can be one thing today, I can be a different thing tomorrow. But for the most part, right now, I'm a cloud engineer, right?
Okay.
So anything and everything around cloud, migrating to the cloud, maintaining workloads in the cloud.
That's a very specific role, I would say.
Very specific. Also.
But I understand when you get into it, it's actually very diverse.
Yeah, that's actually kind of broad. That kind of broad, but also very specific to the cloud, right? Because everyone is moving to the cloud, right?
Yeah.
So my day in, day out is basically being able to advise architects around cloud technology and cloud services, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm doing right now. But also, obviously, by myself, like we are speaking about AI. So AI is, you have to experiment with AI, right?
Right.
So I feel like right now, just my own view of things is AI is still so real life implementations of AI. We're still not over the line. There are very, very few places where AI is actually being worth investing into. I code a lot, so coding is one of the areas where you can get exponential value from AI, right?
Because it can save loads of time, right?
Lots of productivity time, right? It can save loads of man hours, actually, right? So. That means
so it's actually, instead of this becoming a tool for the employee, I feel like on the other side it just becomes more useful for the engineer. Someone would say AI might replace it. What I think is actually engineers are now would be able to use it in a very different manners. You would become as you said, wearing from 2-3 heads to wearing 20 heads.
Exactly.
Right.
I was actually watching a podcast just like I think it was Lex. I think he had someone on, but so they mentioned that we're actually not exploiting the ability of AI as much as we should. So because if you think about AI, your ChatGPT on your phone, so you basically have an expert in your phone for any single topic that you can think of, and not just being an expert, but it also has a history because it's been trained in so much data on many subjects. So, for example, coding, we spoke about Node.js. So if I went to my ChatGPT, if I wanted it to ask for a technical question, how do you do a certain thing? How do I start a server? How do I create a web server using Node.js? It will show me how to do that. But also, if I want expertise, so what is the code that runs behind Node.js? Who's the inventor of Node.js? How did they come about? What is the engine? What is the low level of it? So you have all of that. You can basically you can work backwards from that, right? So it doesn't really matter what field you're in, but you have an expert right there that you can ask as many questions as you want, and they would be able to answer. Obviously, we know AI hallucinates, so it can lie to you.
Right. Yeah, of course. I mean, some people, they don't really know how to post that question.
Yeah, to prompt it.
Like my friend would say something like about but just positioning the words, in the way that can have multiple meanings,
Yes.
And then I wonder, which is, I really appreciate this type of conversation that you can have with this chat GPT or any other, and then you both can learn on it. And eventually, as you said, you have an expert. I think it gets a little tricky when it comes to medicine, because sometimes I'm like, okay, what's this?
You ask it about medical stuff.
And I'm just waiting until they release like a doctor AI, that can really help you actually to understand where to go, and also I think that would be beneficial to doctors.
Yeah. Well. So that's what you were saying before, like how is AI helpful in the real world today? Right. So I don't think AI is at a point where it's very helpful for just anybody and everyone. So you have to be an expert at a certain thing for you to use AI to increase your productivity. Say like a doctor, if you want to do a diagnosis, right? You know what to check for and all of this. But then you'd have to probably, I am not a doctor, but you'd probably have to put in a few tests and then try to figure out what is the problem with this patient, right? But you don't have to put so much thought into that. You can just put that in AI and then it will suggest for you this is the possible thing, this and that. But then because you're also a doctor, right?
Right.
You should be able to read that and say, this doesn't seem to be right. It probably is hallucinating and stuff like that. Same thing like myself, I write code, right? I'd ask it. So before, what I used to do, so for example, there's this front-end framework called React, right? So React is used to create web interfaces. A lot of the websites or web applications that you use, most of it are probably written in React, right? So when you're doing React, like say a page, right? Most of the code is basically the same, right? So before, you would have to go copy-paste, right, the same code to another one if you wanted to create like the same thing but something very different. So you'd copy and paste, you go find code maybe in the internet or code you've written before and then paste it and just change the thing that you want. But
adjust it basically.
Yeah. So basically that would probably maybe take me 5 minutes to just get that, write a whole new page for React, right? But right now with AI, I don't need to move even outside of my IDE. IDE is an integrated development environment, right? That's like VS Code. So I just start typing. It will just auto. So I use what we call Amazon Q. Amazon Q does auto completion for your code. So it has context of what you've written before, what has ever been written before. And also you can even type it out in words like, I want a new page that does this. And then it just, generate the code for you.
Yeah.
But then because I'm an expert, so that takes a second to generate that. But also because I'm an expert, now what I just do is just review the code that it has written for me. So I'll just go through quickly and see, that's okay. Oh no, this doesn't look right. Then I'll just edit it and all that. And in like less than let's say 5 minutes, right? I'm done. I'm completely done. And I can tell it to reproduce that for 2, 3, 4, 5 more pages, right? So right now, in my mind, the implementation of AI is a productivity tool for an expert in a certain field, right? Because you are able to get done very quickly on certain things, but also you are able to tell when the AI is not completely right on certain things, right? But if you're just someone who's not an expert in a field, for example, if you've never written a line of code in your life, if you want to write a whole website, for example, then you will just basically just write, whatever the AI gives you, either right or wrong. You have no idea whether it's right or wrong, right? It's just, you can't.
That would be tough.
It will be tough. It will probably take a bit longer for you to get a job done than me, even though it does give you accessibility to do something that you had no ability to do before. So I think the real world application right now of it is still basically a productivity tool for expert. The other thing that I've seen, which is really major for big organizations and enterprises, is being able to, so one of the biggest things, challenges when you write code or you write software is, as soon as you write that software, we say when as software engineers, as soon as you're done writing any piece of software, the moment you're done, it becomes legacy code. So basically it becomes code that is very old, or it becomes old code that eventually at some point in the future you'll need to update something about it, right? So be it a security fix, because for example, the version of the operating system that you're using right now might be good right now, but 2 years from now, it won't be so good because there's something that doesn't work as it should be, or we discovered something new that needs to be updated. So for example, banks, government agencies, hospitals, and all of them have systems that stay there for many, many years.
Oh yeah, and they have lots of legacy.
A lot of legacy
programs. And
I know
services.
I've read somewhere like in the US, a lot of the government systems are written in, I think, Fortran, which is a programming language that nobody writes code on right now. And it's such a well-paying job because they are only countable engineers that actually understand that type of code. But what AI can do is that it can understand that code, right? And it can help you migrate it to something else. For example, the one implementation that I've seen, again, I'm using Amazon Q. Amazon Q is one of the services by AWS that can help you migrate like from Java 8, right, to Java 11, right, or Java 17, and that normally
with less headache.
With less headache.
Okay.
Obviously, you'll need a lot of experienced engineers to look through the steps and the phases as it's transforming the code, but it will get you there much quicker, right? With less engineers, less amount of money, and just expedite everything, right? So normally, what would happen if you have a big enterprise system that is running in legacy code? So you have to do a lot of planning, hire a lot of engineers,
of course.
Then plan for.
First, you need to inspect basically what's there, understand actually what you need to change.
Yes,
and
you know this because you're a programmer.
Of course, this legacy word became,
Yes.
So you say with AI, this could be a huge deal breaker. I mean, because those.
Not a deal breaker. It's actually like one of the use cases where AI does help you.
Sorry.
Do the job quite quickly and less expensively. Yeah.
Yes, quite fast. Because all those migrations and everything, it's pretty. It's a long story, you know.
Yeah.
And it's expensive.
So there's a blog that is out there. I think written by AWS architects. About how they were able to migrate legacy Java code to legacy Java code for internal system and some services as well, right? And that would normally take years, right? It would take a lot of workforce and all of that, but they're able to do it in a short period of time and relatively cheaply, right?
Yeah.
The only thing that you need to pay for is experienced engineer, just a few, right? Or just the right size. And then you'd obviously have to pay for inference when you're using the AI model, to transform your code. But those are real life examples that provide value to enterprises. For you and I, normal end user, is you are an expert, and then AI just helps you get there very quickly.
Yeah. It becomes a very powerful tool. If you know how to use it.
Yep.
And a very important thing that you said, it's like basically with AI, as it evolves, you are evolving as well.
Yep.
So,
but then again, this is just a point in time in this AI journey, so we don't even know what's gonna happen in the